This is the headquarters of the Indonesian Democratic Party, or PDI, in central Jakarta. These are the loyal supporters of Megawati Sukarnoputri, daughter of Indonesia's founding president and the woman who's become de facto leader of the country's opposition. Clad in their distinctive red and black, they've been barricaded inside party headquarters for more than a month. Today, Megawati is out giving encouragement to her army of supporters who say they won't end their occupation until Megawati's leadership has been restored.
Bagaimanapun juga kami tidak bisa mencegah karena itu adalah kehendak mereka, kecintaan mereka kepada rumahnya yang merupakan solidaritas dari warga PDI dan juga tentunya dari simpatisan dan masyarakat pada umumnya. Mereka melihat adanya ketidakadilan.
Just down the road, riot police prepared to block another demonstration. This is what Megawati is up against. The military is the bedrock on which President Surharto's so-called new order has been built. Its task is to provide political stability, whatever the costs. In the eyes of the new order, Megawati's mistake was to become too popular and too outspoken.
Kalau toh itu dilakukan melalui aksi-aksi unjuk rasa, maka aksi unjuk rasa ini harus dilakukan dengan tertib, ya, sesuai dengan ketentuan dan peraturan yang berlaku, sehingga tidak mengganggu keamanan dan ketertiban, tidak mengganggu lalu lintas, apalagi tidak melakukan tindakan-tindakan yang bersifat destruktif, ya, melakukan aksi teror dan sebagainya.
The Pancasila, the 5 guiding principles of our national life.
This is the man who ironically has cult status within the pro-democracy movement, Indonesia's charismatic first president, Sukarno, a figure still revered by millions. But it was Sukarno who abolished the country's parliamentary democracy and declared himself president for life. His failed bid to play the military, communists and Muslims off against each other in 1965 paved the way for a massacre of 500,000 people, a massive bloodletting which still haunts Indonesians. The man who emerged from the carnage to take charge was the current president, Surharto. In the shadow of the figure he once campaigned against, activist and commentator Arif Burriman poses for the media. He was a backer of Surharto, but now disillusioned, Arif says the new order invokes the memory of 1965 to justify its crackdowns.
The government kept saying to people, look, if you try to create problems, if you want to try to be different from the government, what would happen will be a chaotic thing similar to 1965.
Demonstrations are now almost a daily event in Jakarta. Today, the PDI marches have been joined by a myriad of opposition groups. They're protesting against everything from entrenched corruption to the ever-widening gap between the rich and the poor. The most radical of these groups is led by 26-year-old Budiman Sujatmiko. It's in Jakarta's teeming kampongs that Budiman and his People's Democratic Party, or PRD, are preaching their message of resistance. Burriman, how critical are these people of the government?
Yeah, they are quite critical, and they are the indigenous people that by the process of development is being marginalized traditionally, yeah, culturally, and they see some of the policy of the government they see as immoral and just give the people misery. Stop the military intervention in the camp.
Burriman takes us to PRD headquarters, hidden away in the back streets. These activists are living dangerously. Their politics are left-wing, and a number of party members have already been arrested.
Justru saat ini yang utama dulu adalah bagaimana massa itu termobilisasi dengan banyak dulu. Nah, evaluasinya di mana? Evaluasinya di PDI itu belum mempunyai kesiapan untuk melakukan mobilisasi massa secara solid.
The military has accused them of having communist links, a crime which can carry a maximum sentence of death. Today, the party leaders plan their next political action in support of Megawati.
Jadi targetnya pertama pendidikan, kedua agitasi propaganda tentang metode selebaran, perencanaan aksi dengan melakukan persiapan-persiapan pengorganisasian massa. Jadi dua target itu yang harus gariskan, harus disepakati dalam setiap pertemuan-pertemuan dengan kader-kader maupun massa pendukung PDI di wilayah-wilayah yang sudah menjadi kontak kita. Saya pikir itu.
It's here in Indonesia's factories that the PRD has found thousands of willing converts. This mainly female workforce toils for long hours. Many are not even paid the low minimum wage. Burriman has arranged to meet one of his workers' networks in an outlying suburb. In a safe house, delegates from several of Jakarta's biggest factories complain about the government-controlled unions.
Jadi di pabrik itu kita nggak punya pelindungan, nggak punya yang membela kita itu nggak ada. Jadi betul-betul kita harus berjuang sendiri. Ekonomi.
These organisers often distribute PRD leaflets on the shop floor, a risky task.
Itu ketahuan sama ini kepala bagian di tempat kerja saya, dan akhirnya saya diinterogasi oleh satpam. Udah 2 kali diinterogasi dan kemungkinan saya harus bersedia untuk diinterogasi selanjutnya, kemungkinan dengan aparat polisian.
The delegates welcome the PRD's alliance with Megawati, but for Burriman, it's very much a marriage of convenience.
Maybe the alliance with PDI is just a tactical, but it has a strategic political meaning right now. Maybe in the near future, if there is a changing the political situation is changed radically, quickly, maybe we could take another tactic for achieving the democratization in Indonesia.
At PDI headquarters, it's Friday, and the faithful have gathered for prayers. Megawati has become the rallying point for some strange bedfellows. Muslims have joined Burriman's leftists. This is the world's largest Muslim nation. The Islam practiced here is a far cry from the radical fundamentalism so feared in the West, but if harnessed, it could become a powerful political force. Abdurrahman Wahid leads the 30 million strong Islamic Scholars League, and he's a Megawati supporter. Like Megawati, the government has tried to topple him too. With his massive support base, he's proven a crucial ally. But so far, Abdurrahman Wahid has refused to call his supporters out onto the streets to bolster Megawati's ranks.
It's easy for me to stage a 1 million people demonstration against Surharto and so forth, but that's the very thing that we precisely should avoid. Why? Because the president then, out of let's say deep concern or out of sudden fear or out of misunderstanding about the situation, will be put in a position that there is no way for him except to use force. And I don't want, blood shed in Indonesia just for the purpose of bringing down a president. You see. That doesn't work.
Inside this aircraft is the man whose presence towers above Indonesia, the man Abdurrahman Wahid says he doesn't want to provoke. President Surharto is returning to Jakarta after medical treatment in Germany. His absence heightened speculation about the single most important issue in Indonesian politics, the presidential succession. After 3 decades in power, the 75-year-old president is showing few signs that he intends to step down.
It should be done, you see, earlier, maybe 10 years ago. So you know now that it's very late now for us, although I don't know whether it's too late.
In Indonesia's colour-coded politics, yellow is the colour of Golkar, Suharto's ruling party. The martial overtones of the country's politics are on full display at this youth rally designed to drum up support ahead of next year's parliamentary elections. 20 million young people will be voting for the first time, and Golkar is intent on winning them over. This display of power is designed to impress recruits. The party elders are symbolically attacked, but Golkar's leaders draw on mystical forces to fend off the new order's opponents. Watching the show is businessman Agung Laksana, whose success depends on the continued stability of the new order. His post on Golkar's central board places him at the very heart of the country's political elite.
Hello.
Hi, Laksana.
Welcome.
How are you? Good morning.
Thank you. Morning.
Good to see you.
Away from the hoopla, Agung Laksana enjoys the spoils of his success.
For 3 years.
His children are home on summer vacation from expensive schools in the US. Laksana's New Order credentials are impeccable.
The black one.
His membership of Golkar, his business connections, and a seat in the national parliament are the passports which have taken him to the top. It's people like Laksana who have most to lose if there's a change in the status quo. This is Laksana's Jakarta. Barely recognizable from a decade ago, these are the fruits of growth and stability under the new order. Laksana doesn't want that stability disturbed.
To implement democratization in Indonesia, it should be graduate, step by step. And now it's more better than 5 years ago, than 10 years ago, than 15 years ago, than 10 years. More open, transparent. It's better. But of course, we cannot adopt democracy, America like liberal in one day. No.
Must be good for Golkar, though. In the next election, you don't have as much competition.
We don't want take advantage from PDI problem. We don't want.
Out in the countryside, where Golkar is trying hardest to strengthen its support, the new order has also been alienating voters. Amir, like more than half of his fellow Indonesians, once earned his living from the land. That was before the military, at the behest of developers who were members of the New Order's elite, forced him from his vegetable plots to make way for a golf course. Offering compensation of only a fraction of the land's worth, now Amir is reduced to part-time labouring and watching weekend golfers hack away on the turf he once ploughed. Despite intimidation from the authorities, Amir remains defiant.
Ini tanah Anda, Pak?
Ya, ini tanah saya. Karena sekarang udah jadi lapang golf, tetap aja saya akan memperjuangkan terus sampai titik yang terakhir. Sekarang jadi rumput golf ini hanya untuk kepentingan segelintir orang, sedangkan yang dirugikan ini masyarakat 287 kepala keluarga. Mungkin lebih daripada 1.500 jiwa yang dikorbankan untuk kepentingan segelintir orang ini. Jadi sampai titik yang terakhir saya akan memperjuangkan masalah hak tanah atas saya ini.
In crowded Java, stories like Amir's are common. Together with labour issues, disputes over land are the major cause of deepening opposition to the government.
Ya, Pak Karno dulu, untuk kepentingan rakyat kecil gitu kan. Nah mungkin sekarang Megawati sebagai anaknya, dia kan gigih untuk memperjuangkan rakyat kecil, boleh dikatakan. Kalau kita lihat histori sejarah Pak Karno, bapaknya dulu itu terhadap rakyat kecil itu menyatu dia. Menyatu. Jadi dia nggak sok pangkat, nggak sok kaya gitu. Terhadap yang kecil tuh malah dia dirangkul. Gitu kan.
Oh yes, this is one of the paintings. I love it.
For Megawati Sukarnoputri, her father remains a romantic figure.
Because you know, we can see the spirit of it, especially the background of our flags. It is very dynamic, the red and white colors, and it's, I think, the symbol of the Indonesian spirit at that time.
It's now up to Megawati to prove that she can live up to her father's name. But there are those who doubt she can effectively harness all these strands of opposition to take on Suharto's new order.
Her background is really make it difficult to predict, because as we know, Megawati was raised as teenagers in the palace. She was a princess. She was being served by many servants, maybe. She had no record as an activist, unlike Sukarno. Sukarno was an activist when he was young.
What does Megawati Sukarnoputri stand for?
Bagaimanapun juga sebenarnya hal ini saya lakukan karena saya mempunyai suatu keyakinan, mempunyai suatu tujuan hidup.
With the government and the powerful armed forces lined up against them, Megawati's supporters kept up their demonstrations longer than many people expected them to. But while Indonesia's opposition groups are now more active than they've been in decades, they're also dogged by a lack of unity. There's widespread agreement here that if the democracy movement is to succeed, members of the country's elite will have to break ranks and join the protesters. Inevitable comparisons have been drawn with the Philippines and its People's Power Revolution in 1986. There, the defection of members of the armed forces tipped the balance. Would the military, though, move against Surharto? Or sections of the military?
For sure, we know there are some faction among the military. Those who wants to maintain the status quo, and the other one want to change the status quo. But they are not in public. Well, sometimes they kind of erupted into the public, but I think there is a possible chance that something significant might happen.
Back at PDI headquarters, fearing an assault by the military, flimsy defences have been erected. In these volatile conditions, it's hard to predict what will happen next or to gauge just how much control Megawati has over events. But so far, she's defied expectations that she'd detour from her collision course with the new order. The question now is whether the democracy movement will survive the inevitable impact.